Good evening. I'm your host, Dan Stafford, with the Midwestern Geek and Cali podcast. And tonight I'm going to teach you the most basic cybersecurity habit that you need to know, develop, and use now. This habit alone will protect you from 90% of all the bad news out there. It's the biggest simple thing that everybody could do to make life really hard on hackers. It's like the number one thing that you should be doing. Everyone should be doing this. And it's really pretty simple. So let me give you the concept first. The idea is that any file that comes from outside your computer, any file, whether it be an email attachment, a downloaded installer for a program that you want to use and install and use on your computer, some kind of a file that a friend or coworker gives you on a thumb drive, some kind of file that a coworker gives you on a portable hard drive or a CD or DVD or Blu-ray disc. It doesn't matter what format it comes in. It's coming from outside your computer. You didn't create it yourself. Someone is giving it to you from outside your computer, either on the web or on some kind of portable media. Okay? You want to absolutely make certain that you scan either the media or the file before it ever gets opened and used to make sure it's safe. I know a lot of people think email is automatically scanned, but that's not always true. And probably 80 to 90% of the way that people get ransomware in this day and age is by clicking on and just plain opening an email attachment. That's the biggest one. But almost all viruses, trojans, and ransomware come from some kind of file that was pulled in from outside your computer and opened without being checked. Well, this is how you make absolutely certain that every file is checked before it gets opened and used. So I'm going to start off in Chrome with an email attachment. That's Google Chrome. And I'll show you how to deal with those first. So let's go over here to Gmail. And if you look, there's over to the right here of this top email, there's a little paperclip symbol, and that means that this email has some form of attachment. Now, that can also be there if there is a picture of someone in their email signature, because guess what? The picture in an email signature is technically an attachment to the email. The text part's not. That's part of the body of the email. But the picture, if they have one in there, is usually an attachment to the email. So if you see that little paperclip symbol, that means that that email likely has an attachment. In this case, I happen to know it's a .pdf document because I made the document and emailed it to myself as an email attachment. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the email. And when I look at this email here, I can see that it's got a PDF file attached, test document 1. Okay, great. So instead of just clicking on it, I'm not clicking on it now. I'm just hovering my mouse over it and seeing what options I get. Okay, so I have here the option to save it to Google Drive, which I don't really want to do. That's cloud storage on my Google account. Or download it and save it to a file on my computer, which is what I want to do with it. Okay, notice I did not click or anything at this point. Now I want to state something here about mouse buttons. One way you can think about mouse buttons is your left mouse button is either select it or do it. All right, left is select it or do it. And the reason you have to double click on some files is because they need to be selected and then opened right away. Now, if files down here on your taskbar, those are technically already selected as soon as you put your mouse pointer over them. So all you have to do is left click once. But if it's, say, on your Windows desktop, you got to double click it because you're selecting it and then opening it. All right. But left mouse button is select and or do. Right mouse button or hover over something without clicking at all gives you options and choices. The right mouse button is options and choices. Okay? So is hovering generally. Sometimes all you'll get is the little hand like this that tells you can click on something. You won't see any options or choices, but in this case you do. And here I have the option to download it, and I know that's going to save it in a file on my hard drive, which I will then be able to find and go scan before I open. So here I'm going to go. I'm going to tell it to download it. And it is. Okay. And you'll see this bar along the bottom of the Chrome browser popped up. This is the downloads bar. And it downloaded the file. Now, Google Chrome by default automatically places files that you download in your downloads folder. Pretty simple to figure out there. But now, notice I'm not just left clicking on the downloads bar and opening this thing. I want to right click on it here. And what are my options and choices? Oh, show it in folder. Open, always open, and open with all of those say open. You haven't checked it with the antivirus yet. Don't open it yet. Show it in folder. All right, show it to me in the folder. Let's see what it looks like. It came up in the folder, and guess what? It's automatically already selected. I don't have to go looking for it. It showed it to me in the folder, and it's already selected because I told it to show it to me in the folder. So now I want to see what my options are, so I'm going to right-click, which is options and choices. And look, there's an option right there to scan this document. So I'm going to use, because I want to scan it for viruses before I open it. I always want to make sure that I scanned it before I open it. So I'm going to go ahead and left click on scan test document. Now, most antivirus programs are going to add the option to scan a file, a folder, or a full drive to your right click mouse menu. Any good antivirus worth its salt does that. So as you can see, my antivirus came up and said, oh, it's clean, it's okay. Now I know for a fact that it's been scanned for viruses and malware and ransomware and all that fun stuff. And as long as it's not something so brand new that my antivirus definitions don't have it in there yet, it should be fine, which is probably 95 to 98% chance there's nothing wrong. Now I can left click. And I always left click on the little picture icon and not on the words, because if I left click on the words, it may try to rename the file. But I'll double left click on the picture icon for the file and open it, and there we go. I'm into the thing, and I know for a fact that it was checked with antivirus and it should be safe. Okay, so now I want to go and download an installer file from the program for a program that I want to use. I'm going to update my IOBit uninstaller free, and I'm going to tell it to download the latest version. And well, it's freeware, so they host a lot of freeware. A lot of companies that make freeware host it on download.cnet.com. This is very normal, very typical. And I happen to know with this site that the only download now button you want to pay any attention to is this very first big one that comes up in the top center. Ignore this one here, forget about it, and just click that one right there, because that's the file you want. The other ones will give you related software. And watch, it comes on another window with 2 more download buttons. No, I want to ignore those. Just wait, because guess what? It's already down here on the download bar. It downloaded it. Well, it's just the same as the email attachment. Now I right click on it and select show in folder. It comes up already selected. I right click on it and I scan it with the antivirus. And the antivirus says, okay, it's good. Now I can open it without worrying about it. I already used that one, so I'm not going to worry about it now. But let's show you how this looks in Firefox. And if you're a Firefox user, you might want to see that. So I'll bring Firefox up, because it looks a little bit different, but it's really doing the same thing. Okay, so here we are. We're in Firefox, and I'm going to go over to my mail account. Guess what? Here we go. We got the paperclip, so I know this is one with an attachment. And wow, I have the options here to download it. Now Firefox is going to ask me where to put it. And it's going to ask me what to do first, and obviously I want to save the file somewhere so I have the chance to scan it. I don't want to just open it. I want to save it somewhere so I have a chance to scan it before I use it. It's going to ask me where. The last place I saved something was in download, so I'm going to go ahead and put it there. Yeah, I know it's already there. We'll replace it. And look up here in the upper right corner. Instead of a bar across the bottom, I get this little download arrow up here in the upper right corner. You see this? Okay, so now I click on the download arrow, and if I click over here, it would just open the file. All right, let me silence this thing.
Luxury card members.
That's another annoying little thing that CNET does, is they give you the little advertising videos there when you download your free software. Okay, so I clicked on the downloads arrow. I don't want to click over to the left here. That'll just open the file without scanning it. I want to click on the little folder icon over here, which is the same thing as show in folder in Google Chrome. It's the same thing. Click on the little folder here. I could also right click here, and right click, mind you, and do open containing folder, but this button does the same thing. The little folder icon here does the same thing, and that's the same thing as show in open containing folder, show in folder. They're the same thing. So this icon right here, show in folder, it came up already selected. I don't have to go hunting for it, just have to look for the file that's selected, because that's the one you can tell it's today's date and the most recent time, and right click on it and scan it with the antivirus. Now I know it's cool. Double left click to open and do what I need to do. Okay, so it's not really that different if you're in Chrome or if you're in Firefox. That's an email attachment or a download from the internet. Now, what happens if somebody hands you a thumb drive with a file on that they need you to use, and you go stick it in a USB port in your computer? Well, guess what? This is a thumb drive I stuck in my USB port in my computer. It's over here under this PC. See, I can expand this PC, and there it is. It shows up in the list of drives. If I had stuck a CD or a DVD or a Blu-ray disc in my optical drive, it would show up over here too with a drive letter. Well, guess what? Now I can right click on the whole drive. It takes a second because it's going out through the USB port. And guess what? Now I have the option to scan that whole drive. And left click there, scan the drive. It's empty, so it's pretty quick. But now I know that everything on that drive is safe. 95 to 98% chance there's nothing on there that's a problem. And that is how you keep yourself from getting viruses, Trojans, ransomware, and all that other fun stuff. That's the best bet you've got, and it's the most basic habit. Make it like walking, breathing, or riding a bicycle. Make it something you just do without even thinking about it. Make it that second nature. And you will be very well protected by that habit alone. Okay, so let's close out Firefox here. So that is going to be episode 39 of Midwestern Geek in Cali. I'll be posting this a little bit later tonight, and Next time I get a chance to do one of these how-tos, I'm going to do one that shows you how to back up your entire computer in Windows. No additional software required. The software is already part of Windows from Windows 7 and on. So I'm going to show you how to back up your computer in Windows so you can make a complete total backup of the whole computer. And that way, if somehow, despite the good habits you just learned and you practice, that you make your practice, somehow something gets passed, well, if you made a backup 2 weeks ago, you got a clean copy of your whole computer. You can just restore from the backup, and now you're not infected anymore. So I'll teach you that trick next time I get a chance. But that's it for tonight, and thank you for watching and listening. And once again, I'm your host, Dan Stafford, with the Midwestern Geek in Cali podcast, podcasting, video casting from beautiful Temecula, California, summer's winter home. And happy Vulcan fingers to you from the Agent of 42. Good night, and thank you for listening.